Hello, YouTube. Well, we had a nice rain last night and everything's kind of damp this morning, so good day to do some more maintenance on my trailer. This is my Hearst trailer. I bought this new in 1990, so I've had this for 36 years. And the old girl's going on a fairly substantial road trip later this summer or early fall, so I'm doing a little maintenance on it. I decided I wanted some bolt-on fenders. Actually, I've been threatening to do this for quite a while, but anyway, I ordered a pair of El Cheapo fenders off the interwebs, $100 for the pair of them, and a couple of weeks ago I got to working on this, and I welded a couple of pieces of steel on each side and got it to where I can bolt on, and then I got this made a brace in the middle, and I've had them bolted on and they're really sturdy, really solid when everything's all bolted up. So and I had a can of Ford Tractor light gray sitting on my shelf, so I decided that was a good color. Last year I tore all the lights and all the wiring off of it and replaced all the lights with LEDs and replaced all the wiring because I had grown tired of fussing with the lights every time I hooked onto the trailer to make them work. Everything had gotten it had gotten kind of unreliable. The bed has been replaced once with treated lumber. I've got one board that's kind of crappy, but I'm probably not going to replace them now. All four tires are relatively recent vintage, so that's good. And since my triaxle gooseneck trailer takes the same tires and wheels, I've got lots of spares. The suspension, the eveners, and the spring hangers, I replaced those. They had gotten worn and I replaced them all many years ago. I made some really heavy duty eveners and drilled everything out and put larger size bolts in them all. So what I want to do today, I want to, well, I'm going to take a look at the bearings. It's still got the original wheel bearings and everything. I've always been very diligent about keeping them greased up, but they are 36 years old now and have gotten a pretty fair amount of miles on them, so I want to lay my eyeballs on them, clean them up, and if they look the least bit sketchy, I'm going to replace them all. Plus, I want to get the brakes on the front axle working again. They haven't worked for a couple of decades. I've got a couple of new magnets for them, and we'll see if I need anything else. But anyway, so yeah, it's a little bit of a teaser. I'll tell you what my trip is all about after a bit, and then I'm not sure how much far I'll get today. I probably won't get finished, so you might not see this video for several weeks or a couple of months yet. So anyway, I'll get started on this and I'll bring you back when I find something interesting. These are all going to get some anti-seize on them when they go back in. Okay, the bearings really don't look too bad, but the cages are getting worn. So, yeah, if all I was going to do was putz around within 20 miles of the farm, I probably wouldn't mess with it, but I think I'm going to replace them all. There's enough wear there. I just don't want to mess with it. The drum, yeah, that's not good enough to run a magnet against. I will, and plus that the whole brake setup there is kind of a disaster. So I think what I'm going to do is just slip this back together and check the other three corners, see if I can come up with two drums that will work for me. Otherwise, we'll have to take stock and see what happens. And I'm not sure how much farther I'm going to get today because it's sprinkling on me occasionally here. So I might bring you back after a bit today, or it might be some other day. We'll see what happens. Well, about 2 weeks has passed since the last video clip you saw, and I've got the trailer back in the shop today. I backed it at the shop because it's been raining on and off today. So where we are at, I got new bearings for the rear axle, and I'm packing this one with grease right now. So we're going to get the new bearings in the back axle. I don't have any brake hardware on here that is salvageable. It's all completely rusted to pieces. So I know I could buy new backing plates to weld on to these axles. They're available for about $100 a piece, or no, $100 a pair. But I still would not have any usable brake drums. These drums, the inside of the drums are all rusty and pitted, and I'm afraid they would grind a magnet to pieces in short order. So I'm going to replace the front axle. I found a good used one. At least I think it's a good used one. I'm going to go look at it this weekend. But it should have usable brake hardware, two good brake drums, and be a lot newer than these axles. It's longer than I need. I will need to cut it and shorten it, but that's not that big a deal. I've done that before. Back in the 1980s, a friend and I built a triaxle gooseneck trailer out of an old truck frame and bed. And I think I had to shorten those axles to make them work. So I'm pretty confident I can do that again. So I'm going to go ahead. What I'm going to do the rest of it today, I've got, I'll finish packing this bearing, get this brake drum on. Then I'll do the other side. Then if everything goes according to plan, I'll pick up my new used axle this weekend. And I'll bring you back when I commence to shortening it. We'll get brakes on this old girl yet. It's now the following week, and I picked up my new axle last weekend, and I'm really happy with it. The brake components all are free and look good. The drums look like they'll clean up nicely. And as an extra bonus that I wasn't expecting, I got two really good looking tires with it. They're relatively new. There's no weather checking or cracking on them. So bonus, these tires will be going on my gooseneck trailer next time I hook onto it. Now I have to cut approximately 16.5 inches out of it to make it fit, which isn't that big a deal. I'll probably get this in the shop and do that tomorrow. I need to go out and cultivate beans this afternoon, and tomorrow is supposed to be rainy anyway. So I will bring you back for that. All right, it's the following day. We got 1.5 inches of rain last night and more on the way this afternoon. But that's okay. I'm here in the shop getting ready to cut my axle and weld it back together. I've measured multiple times, and I need to take 17 3/4 inches out of the middle of this axle. Now I know the chop saw isn't going to leave a perfectly square cut there, but that's okay because that surface isn't what I'm relying on to get things aligned and keep it straight. This would probably be a good place for my standard disclaimer. I'm not telling you this is how you should do this. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. So let's whack this baby. I think I'm ready to weld the two halves of the axle back together. I've got it clamped to this piece of channel iron to make sure it's straight. Turned out the hardest job was cleaning it up. Someone had sprayed some, looked like undercoating on it, and of course there were kind of globs on it in places, so I had to get that all cleaned off next to where I was going to clamp it against these surfaces here to make sure it was all true. But my length is correct. I used a level to make sure both spring hangers were level as it sits here, so I know they're both the same. So I think I'm ready to go ahead and weld this thing back together. You can't hardly tell some old farmer's been screwing around with it. I'm going to let this paint dry and spend the rest of the afternoon cleaning up the brake components. Then tomorrow we'll bring the trailer up here and try and get it finished up. So stay tuned for that. Turns out they were right about it going to rain some more this afternoon. after I'd had this trailer about 10 years, the original eveners and spring hangers were badly worn out. So at that time I built some new eveners and spring hangers out of 1/2-inch steel, and they've held up really good. I bored everything out, drilled everything out to use 5/8 bolts, and at that time I put the 5/8 bolts in, put nuts on, and then spot welded the nuts on. So that's what I did again. I put all new bolts in. The bolts on the middle bolts and the eveners were starting to get kind of worn. The rest of them were all right, but I replaced them all anyway. That's probably not the approved method, but that's what I did about 25 years ago, and it's held up, so should be good enough to do it again. Let's see, 25 years. I'll have to make a note to change these out again when I'm 95. All right, got her all back together. Got the fenders bolted on and the new axle with brakes underneath it. Just one aside, turns out the axle I got, the spring mounts are about 1.5 inches farther outboard from the spindle than the other ones. So the tires on the new axle, the spring hangers, after I welded together, turned out perfect. You're in the right place, but the tires on this axle sit out about 1.5 inches more than the other ones, than the ones in the back, which I think in the grand scheme of things is not a big deal. But I feel pretty comfortable hitting the road with this thing now. I think we're in pretty good shape. Also, the tires that I got with the new axle are in the shop. I pumped them up and they're still holding air just perfectly, so that was a good bonus. So good deal. I'll have to hook onto this with a truck in the next week or two and take it for a test drive, just make sure everything's fine. I'll probably spill the beans about the trip I'm taking with it this fall in a week or two in a video. So at any rate, I'm going to fire up the cubby and mow my lawn before dinner. So until next time, everyone out there, have a good day.